Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you who don't know, there was a hostage situation at a Jewish synagogue here in my beloved nation of Texas. Let me share with you the Fox News report of that. And it's an article, and I'm going to go ahead and just read it. So it says, Texas synagogue accused hostage taker was British national. Texas authorities say a suspect who died at Fort Worth area scene had demanded release of convicted Pakistani terrorists. Now, at the current time, I do not know. I don't believe, well, I haven't seen it on the news or anything. So I don't know the particular religious persuasion of this fella. But this article by Danielle Wallace of Fox News. The man who allegedly held Jewish worshippers hostage at a Texas synagogue was a British citizen. The suspect who died at the scene after allegedly taking hostages at Congregation Beth Israel in Colleyville near Fort Worth Saturday was a British national, according to the UK government's Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office. We are aware of the death of a British man in Texas and are in contact with the local authorities, a spokesperson for the office said in an email statement to Fox News Digital. Fox News Digital has reached out to the State Department, Justice Department, the FBI Dallas Division, and the Colleyville Police Department early Sunday seeking additional comment. It's unclear how the individual entered the U.S. or if he had a criminal background. The hours-long hostage incident ended Saturday night with the hostages safe and the man holding them dead, according to authorities. The man allegedly had demanded the release of a Pakistani woman who was imprisoned nearby on charges of trying to kill American service members in Afghanistan. That woman, Ifia Siddiqui, is serving an 86-year prison sentence after being convicted in Manhattan in 2010 on charges that she sought to shoot U.S. military officers while being detained in Afghanistan 2 years earlier. She's a Pakistani neuroscientist who studied in the United States at prestigious institutions, Brandeis University and the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, or MIT as we all know it. The FBI and Justice Department described her as an Al-Qaeda operative and facilitator at a May 2004 news conference and warned of intelligence showing Al-Qaeda planned an attack in the coming months. In 2008, she was detained by authorities in Afghanistan. American officials said they found in her possession handwritten notes that discussed the construction of so-called dirty bombs and that listed various locations in the U.S. that could be targeted in a mass casualty attack. Inside an interview room at an Afghan police pound, authorities say she grabbed the M4 rifle of a U.S. Army officer and opened fire on members of the U.S. team assigned to interrogate her. She was convicted in 2010 on charges including attempting to kill U.S. nationals outside the United States. At her sentencing hearing, she gave rambling statements in which she delivered a message of world peace and also forgave the judge. She expressed frustration at arguments from her own lawyers who said she deserved leniency because she was mentally ill. I'm not paranoid, she said at one point. I don't agree with that. Pakistani officials immediately decried the punishment, which prompted protests in multiple cities and criticism in the media. The prime minister at the time, Yusuf Raza Jalani, called her the daughter of the nation and vowed to campaign for her release from jail. In the years since, Pakistani leaders have openly floated the idea of swaps or deals that could result in her release. Hassan Syed, executive director of the Dallas-Fort Worth chapter of the Council on American Islamic Relations, said the group considers Siddiqui to have been caught in the war on terror, as well as a political prisoner who was wrongly accused through flawed evidence. He nonetheless strongly condemned the hostage-taking, calling it wrong, heinous, and, quote, something that is completely undermining our efforts to get Dr. Afia released, end quote. The woman known as, quote, Lady Al-Qaeda, end quote, has also garnered support from accused militants in the United States. An Ohio man who admitted he plotted to kill U.S. military members after receiving training in Syria also planned to fly to Texas and attack the federal prison where Siddiqui is being held in an attempt to free her. The man, Abdurrahman Sheikh Mohammed, was sentenced in 2018 to 22 years in prison. Siddiqui is being held at a federal prison in Fort Worth, where she was attacked in July by another inmate at the facility and suffered serious injuries, according to court documents. Before the Texas hostage incident ended, authorities and others were worried about a repeat of such tragedies as the Tree of Life massacre in Pittsburgh in October 2018, where 11 people were killed, or in Poway, California, or the Poway, California synagogue shooting near San Diego in 2019, where there was one fatality. And so, yeah, that took place today, and I guess everything turned out okay, but they're wondering, well, how did he get into the country? Our borders are open. What do you mean? How did he get into the country? The border is open. What are you talking about? And that's not the end of it. I got something else for you today, special. Let's take a look at why so many Palestinian and leftist Americans hate Israel. Let's just take a look. I could be wrong. I mean, I've been wrong before. But maybe this has something to do with it. Maybe the squad has a little something to do with this.
On to this comment is recognized. Mr. Speaker, the truth has finally come out on the floor of the House of the United States of America. I heard some of my Democratic colleagues stand with me, with Israel, with our ally, to fight terrorism with a defensive weapon system. And what did we just hear? We heard the Democratic Party speak out. We heard right now from my colleague across the aisle with a shocking statement. She opposes this because they have a vocal minority.
That would be
in
Rashida
the majority
Tlaib.
Party that is anti-Israel, that is anti-Semitic, and as Americans, we can never stand for that. I grew up with Holocaust survivors. I grew up with children of Holocaust survivors. Israel has been attacked and attacked and attacked since its inception. As Americans, I beseech you, I reach out to the majority and I say, condemn what we just heard on the floor. Condemn terrorism. This is a defensive weapon system. Stop playing your procedural games. I hear commit, recommit. It was a motion to recommit. You just saw something on this floor I thought I would never see, not only as a member of this House, but as an American. Let us stand with Israel. Let's combat anti-Semitism wherever it is in the world, whether it's in the United States, whether it's from terrorism. I am shocked, Mr. Speaker, with what I just heard. I ask the majority to condemn the comments that were just made by their member. And with that, I yield back.
Now, those were comments made by Miss Rashida Tlaib. This is when they were doing the Iron Dome. Remember when the Iron Dome got approved? And I made a video on it, and AOC cries because Israel got a defensive weapon to protect themselves from the Palestinians. So today in Texas, you have a Palestinian or a British national demanding the release of a Palestinian. And what's he do? He takes hostages in a Jewish synagogue. Could that have anything to do with the squad's years of anti-Semitism? See, they take it for a joke. Rashida Tlaib is unhinged. Hell, they've had to throw her out of speaking engagements and rallies because she loses her mind. Security's literally had to carry her out. AOC thinks this is all a joke. Ilhan Omar is just a plain old terrorist in representative uniform. So when things like this happen, they're going to wash their hands of it and they're going to back off. I wonder if Congress or the Senate, even the president, anybody is going to come out and condemn the things they've been saying for the last 4 to 6 years. Condemn them, throw them out of office. AOC needs to go back to busting tables in New York City and keep her mouth shut. See, this is, you know how many people could have died? And if you think this is the end of it, it's not. It's only going to get worse. As long as they're in office to spew their rhetoric. Look how many shots Ilhan Omar has taken at not only the Jewish people, the United States. Remember her 9/11 comments? Some people did something. These people are horrible. They're not misinformed. They are intentionally evil. There's a difference between being misinformed. If you're misinformed, I can deal with you because I can get you informed really quickly on certain subjects. It's like when you come to me for a firearms class, you're uninformed. Well, I can get you right in 2 to 3 hours and you'll be good to go. But these people are intentionally evil. You can come to me, and if your intention is to go out and shoot as many people as possible, there's nothing I can ever teach you that's going to stop that from happening. These people want Jews dead. That's why I can't believe people like Jon Stewart are still aligned with the left. Jon Stewart's Jewish. They want you dead. I'm calling it right now, the squad: Cori Bush, Rashida Tlaib, AOC, Ilhan Omar, Kamala Harris, the secret member of the squad. They hate Jews. They want you dead. Hopefully, the Jewish community sees through this, registers to vote, and goes out and votes Republican and votes these leftists out of office. The Jewish community is very big in places like New York and such, not very big down here. The Jewish community is actually a very small community. That's why I say it was no coincidence that he picked out a synagogue. I've been back here 4 months. I've not seen a synagogue. I think it makes up like 1% to 2% of our entire population. And Texas is a huge state. So this was not a coincidence. It was not an accident. This was done on purpose. And I guarantee once they start going back through his history, through his Facebook, through his Twitter, to whatever he was posting on whatever social media site, and I guarantee he's a follower of the squad. They want Israel destroyed. That's why they don't want to give Israel the Iron Dome. I'm saying it here right now. The squad wants Israel destroyed. They want to kill all Jews. Let's just be honest about it. Why I get Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar. Cori Bush and AOC, I don't really get it. Maybe some Jewish guy didn't tip her enough when she was working bars, living at her parents' mansion. I don't know, people. I'm kind of frustrated by it. Tell me what you think in the comments. But as usual, like, subscribe, share. And as always, especially in these days and times, keep your powder dry and do what you got to do.